Don Iovino, the godfather of finesse fishing, the old doodling rig, or the old doodling technique. Okay, picture this. It's the last handful of times you're going to be out for the season. The water's getting really cold. It's down into the 48-degree temperature range. Today we're throwing a Don Iovino living rubber football head jig. This is Northern Strain Style. Hit that like and subscribe. Let's go. Now this living rubber jig was hand-tied, handmade by Don himself. Just a legend in the bass fishing community, and he was the godfather of finesse fishing, so he came out with this finesse football jig. You have this living rubber skirt with just, I mean, I don't know how many strands of rubber on there, but it's nice, big and bulky, and it poofs up in the water nice. And it's got a real light weed guard on it, and here's the thing, it has a very light hook on it. So with this light hook, you need to downsize the power of your rod and your line, otherwise you're going to bend this hook out and break it off possibly. Ask me how I know that. Because that's what happened to me on this jig. This jig taught me a lot about overpowering your hook. You know, if you're going with 20-pound fluoro and a medium heavy rod, you're gonna bust that hook off or bend it off, you know. Whoa, I almost forgot to mention, now with this football head jig, it might seem a little too heavy to be throwing on a spinning rod. It doesn't matter if it's 3/8 of an ounce or a 1/2 ounce. Get your heaviest spinning rod for this and go to like a 12-pound braid, 10-pound fluoro leader. And the reason you don't want a bait casting rod is just because of the hook is so finesse. It doesn't really matter. You'd have to go super light bait casting rod and line, where if you just kind of like overpower your spinning rod, it'll be perfect for this size hook, you know. And even though it might feel like a little too heavy to get a real hook into them, this hook is so thin and finesse that it's the proper rod and line for the job. And that's just another thing to look for on every jig, is check the gauge of the wire. If it's super thick and the hook stiff, then you can go to a heavy line, and if it's flexible and light, then, you know, go to a lighter setup. There we go. A little finesse jigging him, dragging it over the gravel flat here. Not big, but we'll take him. The fish, they've seen every bait hundreds of times this year. They've had them dropping on their head like bombs. And then sometimes you just got to go simple, nothing fancy, nothing aggressive. Sometimes you got to go trailerless. And late fall is the time of year when I really throw a jig with no trailer. And if I'm throwing a jig in the late fall, it's going to be a living rubber jig. And what you get with the living rubber jig is you just get such a more fluid movement in the skirt in the colder water. For some reason the silicone just might stiffen up, where this living rubber still poofs out real nice. Probably a pike, catching it on the reel up. That's a bass. They're shying away from everything else. Man, you just go back to something very simple. No trailer, no nothing. Just keep the skirt on it, and man, just drag it around and they're gonna just jump on it. There we go. Sometimes in the late fall, you go trailerless on your jig. Just a little finesse jig, no trailer. Short, compact. It's a good one. They're choking it. Look at this football.